Hello Evelyn! So today we are going to be learning how to make some 3D handprint art. I have my example here for you. It's not perfect, but I think I did a pretty good job. So if you would like to learn how to make one yourself, just stay tuned. For this project you will need a piece of blank paper, an eraser, a permanent marker, a pencil, a ruler, and some pencil crayons. I'm using shades of blue and purple. So let's start by clearing away the things that we don't need. We're going to start off with just the pencil, the eraser, and the paper. The first thing that you're going to do is you're going to trace your hand. Now there is a little bit of a trick to this, so watch closely. What you want to do is you want to place your hand down with your fingers spread open. Try and remove anything that would be off the edges of the paper so that you don't get strange lumps and bumps on your hand. When you do this, you're going to go all the way to the edge of the paper, and you're going to hold your pencil very still, straight up and down as you go. If you curve your pencil inward, it's going to give you weird shrivelly little fingers around the outside. Now, if the pencil doesn't get all the way around the finger, that's okay. If you've got little gaps in your fingers, you can always fill those in afterwards. If you need help, it's sometimes easier to have a friend or someone in your family trace your hand for you, just like that. Now that I have my lines marked off, I can use my ruler to trace across. The more precise you are with this activity, the better your outcome is going to be, so take your time and do your best. If you're not entirely sure, use a light pencil line. That way, if you need to, you can erase. What I'm going to do is I'm going to match up both edges of my ruler to my two marks on the page, and I'm going to draw a line, but I'm going to skip my hand. So when you see the line, my hand isn't in it. All right, let's get started with this. Now that we have our lines drawn, our hand still looks 2D. The way that we make it 3D is we connect this line to this line, but we give it a curve. And all of your curves are going to be like a rainbow. So you're always going to be going in the same direction. And if you think, you know what, that curve might be a little bit too big, go back and erase. If you missed a line, go back and erase. The more precise you are with this, the better it's going to turn out. Just like if you have really big lines on the outside, your hand isn't going to look very 3D. If you have very little lines, it will, but it's going to be a lot of work. It's going to be really hard to make sure that everything matches up. So let's get started with adding curves to our hand, and we'll see how it looks. So as you can see, I made some mistakes and my lines weren't perfect, but I went back and I did the best job I could. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start coloring. So I'm going to show you just a couple little tricks, and then I'm going to color it off camera because it's going to take me a while. I'm going to be really focusing on that. So what I like to do, because I'm using a bunch of different colors and I want to do it in a pattern, so I might start by saying, okay, I've got 5 colors, so I'm going to start with this one here, and then I'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then my 5th one again here, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so we're done. When I color, I want to make sure that I'm coloring all of this line, including the curved part, that everything is neat and complete. I'm not coloring too hard. I don't want it to be like solid, because there's something that I'm going to do later with my pencil crayons. But what we're going to do is I'm going to take this off camera, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to color it all in so that I know where my dots are and that I can color along this entire line, both sides including the curve, and then I will come back when the coloring is done. Here is my finished coloring, and now I'm going to show you why I really like to use pencil crayons for this. So it's a little bit hard to see my 3D hand because it all matches in, but if a hand was actually there, it would show a little bit of a shadow. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my pencil crayon, I'm going to go with my darkest purple pencil crayon, and I'm only going to do the dark purple ones, but I'm going to go right up to the edge of where my hand would be, and I'm just going to darken that part a little bit as if my 3D hand is creating a bit of a shadow. This is going to help make it look a little bit more like it actually is 3D, and it's also going to help define where my hand is, because in the end we are going to make the lines pop by adding a little bit of Sharpie, but we're not going to do that to the outside of the hand. So I'm going to go ahead and continue working on this. I'm going to do all of the colors for the whole hand, and then we'll come back and see how it looks. So now that I've added a little bit of shading around the edge of my hand, you can see that it looks a lot more 3D. I could leave it like this if I wanted to, or I could go in with my Sharpie and I could mark off all of the lines between the different colors. I like to do that because I feel like it gives me just a little bit more polish to my picture, and it helps me clean up any lines that I see that I'm not super pleased with, or like up here where the pencil is a little bit thicker. Going over it with a Sharpie will help me with that. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. When I do it, I'm going lines across, not around the edge of my hand. I've already shaded that, so I don't need to outline that anymore. So here's my finished 3D hand art. You can see there's a couple of lines that are a little bit wibbly wobbly. I didn't take quite enough care with where I was putting my lines, but overall it looks pretty good. My hand is popping out of the page, and I'm pretty pleased with it. So if you do yours, I would love to see them. You can post them onto our teams under Celebration of Learning, and everyone can see everyone else's. Have a great day.